When your life is going so well, you have become a successful person, and everything is getting better and better and better. It is like you are a beautiful flower that grows so tall, and then you are cut. If your society has ever done this to you, your society might have something that sounds so nice. It is tall poppy syndrome. Hmm, what is tall poppy syndrome anyway? Let's ask people from all over the world.
It's like a small dog, like
Can you guess what it is?
Something to do with drugs. Poppy.
Tall poppy
Tall
syndrome.
poppy syndrome.
I've never heard of it before.
Can you guess it?
Is it a disease of a plant?
No, what syndrome?
Tall poppy syndrome.
No,
Do you think what it means? You guess?
it has something to do with puppy. No clue. I don't know.
It is.
No, poppy syndrome. I don't know what is it.
Can you guess what it is?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. Seriously.
Well, actually, tall poppy syndrome is an Australian and New Zealand slang for the tendency of people in the society to criticize people of high status, as known as tall poppies, and cut them down because they have been classified as better than other people in the society. It comes from the term, the tallest flowers in the field will be cut down to the same size as all the others. But does the phenomenon happen only in Australia and New Zealand? Let's listen from people from other countries.
yeah, there's always some people that think they're better than others. You just have to ignore them. I don't like these people. Nobody likes these people. Don't be like that.
In UK as well, we tend to we tend to build people up as heroes and put them on a pedestal and make them heroes. But then once they are a hero, we are looking for an excuse to pull them down again. It's it must be human nature. But it's like being, I don't know, you think it's quite common in Australia and New Zealand, do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is common in UK.
You find it in UK, yes, yeah. But less so, I think. I think Australia and New Zealand, especially Australia, they are they haven't quite got the manners yet. They're a bit of a third world nation, if truth be known.
But yeah, it's just a thing where people they're not confident in themselves, and so they try and cut other people down to feel better about themselves.
Where I come from, there's a lot of like criticism of people who are in public, like politicians, for example, or even teachers. Like there's this whole groups of jobs that are have to do with a lot of other people, and they are criticized a lot, especially since we have social media. There is a journalist, female journalists are criticized a lot in public. So this reminds me of what you say. Yeah.
So why do people have tall poppy syndrome?
Because I think they have insecurity inside. They feel weak and they feel low and they feel like they don't have any power to change how the world works, I think. So maybe that's why they need to, they feel like without power. And so they want the others that seem to have the power to be put down. I think that might be an explanation.
He's lucky, man. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Depends on situation and depends about who is it. Because if it's good man, it's a good reaction. If it's bad man, it's bad reaction.
It seems to be just a human nature to envy people who are better than them. So, what is so special? Believe it or not, in Australia and New Zealand, it is not just an individual's behavior, but it rooted in the cultures. It can be traced back to when England took the land and sent many prisoners to Australia. the condition there at that time was harsh. There were many dangerous creatures and diseases that could kill them. As a result, an individual couldn't survive by himself. One had to rely on each other as a society. The social bond was so strong that they see a tall poppy in harsh situations as unacceptable. As time changes, they still carry that mindset for generation to generation. Yes, it has been a long time since the beginning. So, how is the tall poppy syndrome going nowadays? Let's hear from a student who is now studying in Australia. Joel Tangpanishdi. It sounds unfair to hear only from people outside Australia. So let's see what an Australian thinks about tall poppy syndrome. Mr. Peter Keel, a lecturer from the Department of Foreign Language, Kasetsart University, is here with us today.
Yes, it's a term used throughout the English-speaking world. In England, I would say it has to do with bringing people back down a peg if they maybe get a little too successful. But in an Australian context, I grew up believing it would mean if someone's ego got too big, if they got too big for their boots, if they thought themselves to be better than other people, then we would have a quiet word or a loud word to pull their head in and say, hang on, you're not that person you think you are.
It is true that Australians come out of
I think it would be fair to say the Australian press does. They like going after politicians who maybe perhaps sometimes take advantage of their office. And the Australian press are pretty quick to get on top of that and just remind them that they're not better than everyone else. I think it's heavily ingrained in Australian culture. So if someone does stick their head out, it usually does get kicked off pretty quick.
Why do you think tall poppy syndrome exists in Australia?
I think you could probably trace it back to why Australia is there. Well, when I say Australia, why the British colonised Australia. It started off the Australian colony in Sydney. The first governor, Arthur Phillip, was very much initiated a lot of socialist policies. So equality was very important from an early stage in the Australian colony. And I think that equality and everyone having and believing that they can have a fair go, that no one's getting special treatment, whether that be on an individual basis or in the eyes of the law. And I think that's a big part of being Australian, being able to, if you want to do something, we'll give you the opportunities to do it. And if you work hard, you can, and you can become whoever you want to be. And that, I think that equality is a real big thing in Australian culture. So that's why I think it exists.
Tell me about your experience about tall poppy syndrome.
My personal experiences, thinking about it, I felt I couldn't pinpoint an exact example, but I think it's heavily ingrained in Australian culture, because I can remember growing up, friends and family, if you started to get ahead of yourself a little bit, someone would say something. If you thought you were too cool for school, someone would say something, and it really, I think, made people try to be a little, remember where you came from, and humility was a big thing. The ability to be humble, and as I said, not get too far ahead of yourself. And thinking back on it, it happened quite a lot, whether it be at home, with friends, or at school. No one really let anyone think they were better than they were. And I think that's really ingrained in the culture, which is, I don't know if it's unique to Australia, but living outside of Australia now for 10 years, in England, you'd see it happen sometimes. The English press, I think, love going after tall poppies. They love building people up and then cutting them down. That's unique to the English press, tabloid papers. It sells newspapers, I think. Why is the answer to that? And living in Thailand, I think Thais are a little bit more polite, perhaps, and they don't, if someone's acting a little bit above their station, maybe sometimes people don't say anything, whereas in Australia, they do.
Though tall poppy syndrome seems to be a phenomenon that is full of jealousy, we have learned now that it is actually a culture that reminds people that no matter how much they achieve, they cannot just feel or act like they are better than others. Of course, to cut tall poppies seems to be cruel, but actually it is a culture originating from coordination and the sense of friendship, and it encourages people to stay humble. If we look at this more carefully, we will see that for the society with tall poppy syndrome, success is not about an individual, but it should include everyone in the society.